The law of karma, remember this in your mind. Avoid the bad, do only good, purify your mind. When you die you'll go to heaven. You have to know, and you must know, life's in the cycle of samsara. There is no way to get away under the law of karma.
I joined the Dhammakaya Temple for the first time on the Kathina Day in 2004, which I offered the donation to Laung Phaw. The very first time I saw you, I felt a strong urge to pursue perfection with Laung Phaw. Joining that ceremony filled my heart with joy. The next morning I experienced Laung Phaw's power that as I rented a 2-story house for 5,000 baths a month to use it for my business. That day was the day the landlord came to collect the rent. But I knew only too well that I just had a little more than 1,000 baths in my safe. It would never be enough to pay the rent regardless, and the landlord was sitting there waiting for the money from me. I pretended to open the lock just to delay the time because I didn't know what to do, but deep in my mind I thought of Laung Phaw and recite Sama Arahang and asked for Laung Phaw's help. And suddenly the landlord asked to buy shoes from my shop. Normally she never bought anything in my shop before. Apparently she bought many pairs a day, which valued to over 3,000 baths, and with the money I had in my safe, it was exactly 5,000 bahts. That made me adore and have more faith in our Laung Phaw. Before my only aspiration was to go to Nibbana. But after I learned about Laung Phaw's determination that he will be the last person to enter Nibbana, that made me change my mind and would like to follow him in pursuing perfection to the utmost level of Dhamma. My father was born in China. After he was born he was thrown in a rubbish bin, then a single woman picked him up and took care of him. I called her grandmother. During the war in China my grandmother and father migrated to Thailand, where she married grandfather. They helped each other, setting themselves up, and had 3 children of their own. 2 boys and 1 girl. Later grandfather died. That made grandmother struggle to look after the children till they grew up. As for my father, he liked to gamble, smoked heavily. My parents met in the hospital where they went for the same treatment. Later they got married and have 6 children. I am the 5th one. The first child was dead in her womb and the last one was given to a nurse for adoption. Late my parents separated. My father took the 4 children and let his stepsister adopted them. Both mother and father went separate way and remarried. Father had 2 children with his new wife. He did not like making merit. Later I learnt that he changed his faith to Christianity. He had many business but were unsuccessful. His last business was housing development, but he was sued and put into bankruptcy. He fled to southern Thailand and nobody heard from him for over 10 years now. My sibling and I were looked after by our aunt who sent us to school, but my 3rd brother didn't want to study, so he only finished grade 6 because in his teenage he had bad company and was addicted to gambling. When he was 20 years old, he worked as a fish trader in Thailand Province. But he wasn't there for too long before he had a head-on collision in his pickup truck. He died instantly. Before he passed away, He wanted to ordain and asked for permission from my aunt. As she didn't believe in merit but rather pay respect to the spirit, she told him that our family was Chinese. We didn't have to ordain. As such, he didn't ordain and died as mentioned at the age of 20. My eldest sister was very pitiful. Ever since she was young, she had to help my aunt and grandmother with all the chores, and she only studied to grade 4. She had to leave school to help grandmother sell products until she grew up. Late I came to further my studies and worked in Bangkok. I was stressed with my life that made me unaware of her situation at all. There were times that my sister tried to call me to talk about her suffering, sort of asking for advice, and told me that she wanted to leave home and go somewhere else. But I didn't realize that her suffering was very critical. I only comforted her and said that she should stay there and endure. Then I have learnt that she committed suicide by hanging herself. She was in her 30s then, but she didn't die instantly but was in coma for a year, then passed away. As for myself, I am a small person with hideous complexion and my skin looked charred. In my childhood, even though I was abandoned by my parents, but I didn't experience any hardship since my aunt looked after me very well even though I was not her blood-related niece. I only suffered when I was abused and hit by my uncle regularly. I felt that he disliked me. That made me hate and afraid of him, all this time. Later I had an opportunity to study at Ramkhamhaeng University. One night around 8 p.m. while I was studying with a friend for exam, I was tired and fell asleep. Then I dreamt of a man with dark skin wearing red loin clothes and no top, standing at the door smiling sweetly at me. In my dream I wasn't afraid of him. I then sweetly smiled back at him. But all of a sudden I was woken up with fright because my friend was shaking me alarmingly. My friend told me that I screamed fearfully. I related my dream to her that made her more frightened. Years after the dream I had an accident. While I was walking in the university, a car reversed and hit me. I fell on the ground, and as my sleeve was caught in the wheel, I was dragged along until someone told the driver to stop the car. As the driver disappeared, I had to pay for my treatment by myself for almost 10,000 baths. After my graduation, I got a job in a company in Bangkok. I met an Englishman that came to make contact with the company. He courted me and told me that he was single. We saw each other for a year and decided to live together. But when I became pregnant, he told me that he was already married. I decided to leave him and never contacted him again because I was so angry that he was fooled me. During my pregnancy, I tried to meditate regularly until it was nearly due and I couldn't sit properly. During that time I dreamt that I wear 2 golden necklaces. One was with a Buddha locket and another one was without. But all of a sudden the 2 chains became loose and were about to drop in the sea. I grabbed them and put them around my neck. Later I gave birth to a baby girl. When my daughter was 7 months old, my aunt asked me to go back and live with her because grandmother and my elder sister who lived with her had passed away. I agreed to go and live with her, but she was not the same nice aunt anymore. She likes playing cards and Lotto regularly. Most importantly, she disliked the Dhammakaya Temple because of the bad publicity from the media. If there was any friend of mine came to the temple, my aunt would stop me from associating with them. That made my pursuance of perfection very difficult. I had to make merit and meditate secretly, including when I came to the temple. If she knew about it, she would verbally abuse me for weeks. I used to bow to her feet asking her to stop abusing me, but she didn't. Sometimes she would hit me. Until one day, which was the Krat Hong floating night, I pretended to go to the festival at the temple nearby. I had my 2-year-old daughter with me. Around 11 p.m. that night, still at the festival, suddenly my daughter said to me while looking up to the sky, she said, "Mom, it's Laung Phaw." I looked up at direction but couldn't see anything. But my daughter insisted that she saw Laung Phaw. That made me feel positive that my attempt would be successful, and he thought Laung Phaw certainly would not let me down. I have been praying for Laung Phaw to help me succeed in this escape. and that night I was able to run away successfully. Questions: what retribution made father get abandoned in the rubbish tip and was taken care by grandmother who didn't even know who he was? Is he still alive now? What can I do to meet him? Will I be able to bring him to pursue perfection with the Dhammakaya community? If he has died, where he is? Has he received the merit I dedicated to him? What retribution made my brother get prohibited from my aunt to ordain? Had he ordained, would he escape from that accident and live longer? As for my aunt that forbade him to ordain, will she accrue demerit? After brother passed away, where is he? Has he received merit dedicated to him? What caused my sister to hang herself, and why didn't she die then but was in coma for a year? In this case, was it considered that she committed suicide because she survived? After she died, where did she go? After my grandmother died, where has she gone? Has she received the merit dedicated to her? What made me born a small person with not a very good complexion? My skin looks charred. Why people hated me even though I didn't do anything to them? How can I rectify it? What merit made my aunt took care of me very well even though I was not her blood-related niece? How did we relate, and why uncle liked to abuse me? In my dream I saw a man in red loinclothes smiling to me. What is the meaning? And while I was dreaming, why did my friend say that I screamed fearfully, but in the dream I was not afraid at all? Was my accident related to that dream? What karma made me got injured and had to pay for my own treatment due to that accident? What misdeed did I commit with my husband that made him fooled me that he was single, but when I became pregnant with my daughter he did not acknowledge her? What is my daughter's karma that made her father denied her? How did the dream that I had about the 2 golden necklaces relate to my daughter? Before she was born, where did she come from? What merit did my daughter receive as I meditated for her during the pregnancy? When my daughter was 2 years old, she was walking with her shoes on which made noise in the meditation hall, and when she gave alms she touched the monk's hand. Will she accrue any demerit? If so, how can it be rectified? What retribution made aunt seriously forbid me from pursuing perfection? Why my daughter saw Laung Phaw the night that I ran away from home. Did she really see Laung Phaw? Should I go back to live with my aunt? Will there be any way for her to gain faith towards the temple? Will we accrue any merit as we wrote case studies to ask for your compassion to dream and dream for us, and sometimes we asked you to send messages to our late relatives? This is as if we made someone who is worthy of respect to work for us. If this is sinful, what should we do? How did my daughter and I pursue perfection with the Dhammakaya community? What was my meditation experience? Will I be able to attain the Dhammakaya in this life? Let's listen to Dream and Dream. I closed my eyes, dreamed, and woke up with these answers. When you tell anybody the story like a tale, it will make anyone know more about retribution, law of karma. Your father was abandoned in the rubbish tip but was picked up and looked after by your grandmother even though she did not know him before, because in the past life he used to have a girlfriend but they were both poor. When his girlfriend became pregnant, thinking that he couldn't take care of the baby, he secretly discarded the baby in the rubbish tip that was far away, but he still had the merit of taking care of relatives. Kamma came to fruition. At the moment he is still alive, you should make merit and resolve to meet him and able to bring him to pursue perfection with the Dhammakaya community. You should do it every day. Your brother was forbidden to ordain from aunt because of the past karma that he used to forbid relatives to ordain. If he had ordained, the merit from the ordination would curtail the retribution from killing karma that shortened his lifespan, and he would live longer. What your aunt did to your brother, she will reap the retribution that is when she was going to ordain or make any merit. She will be forbidden, and this will be an obstacle in making merit. After your brother died unexpectedly, he roamed around for 7 days, and the denizen of hell took him to purgatory, Yamlok, first major hell first. But he will have to go to other hells because he broke many precepts. At the moment he is being pounded, stabbed, cut open, died and reborn unaccountably, and he is in agony. He has received the merit dedicated to him that reduced the punishment, but he still has karma. You should dedicate the merits to him frequently. Your sister hung herself and was in coma for 1 year because of the previous plan that she has been doing like this for many lives due to various causes. That is getting bored in life, or with the family for instance. In this case it is considered that she committed even though she survived and was in coma for 1 year because she had strong intention to kill herself. After she died she was taken to purgatory, Yamlok, of the first major hell due to the mentioned intention. She was taken to be hung onto the line and the hell officers will jerk her legs to tighten the rope around her neck to suffocate her. She is in agony. She has received the merit dedicated to her but she still has karma. You should dedicate the merit to her frequently. Your grandmother died and was reborn as a low-level earth sprite, Brahmadeva. She's still having hard life. She hardly has anything to eat because when she was human she barely made merit. As she has received the merit dedicated to her, her condition has improved slightly. You should dedicate to her often. You were born a small person and did not have a good complexion. Your skin looks charred because of the karma of wrong speech. In her past life you teased people with inferiority. The story is, in the life you like to tease a friend who is short with an unattractive complexion with spotted skin as if it was burned. You teased and embarrassed her regularly. This karma come to fruition. You are disliked by others even though you haven't done anything to them because in that life you loathe people because of your regular jealousy. To rectify it, you should accrue every merit by generosity dana, observance of the precept, sila, and meditation and spread loving kindness, practice the 4 objects of sympathy. Has empathy towards others and don't get jealous of anybody for instance. You should recollect every merit accrued and resolve to break away from this retribution. Event parentless but your aunt looked after you very well even though you are not her blood-related niece because you have merit of taking care of relatives. This good deed took action. Your uncle tended to abuse and beat you because you were related to each other but were inclined to fight and breed ill will. This came to fruition. You dreamed that a man with black skin wearing red loincloths smiling to you. This was due to the imbalance of the physical elements and worried. It didn't have any significance. You were injured in the accident and had to be out of pocket. This is not related to the above dream but it was due to the karma in past life that you beat your pets like dogs and cats frequently. Das karma came to fruition. You were duped by your husband that he was single but he refused to acknowledge when you got pregnant because of the karma in the past life when you were born as a man. You used to do this, that is you fooled a woman until she became pregnant but refused to acknowledge her. This is the reflection of your past deeds. Your daughter has similar karma but slighter than yours. At the moment it is only the remnant of karma that made her father denied her. Your dream did not relate to the birth of your daughter. Before she was born, she came from a not very bright place. The merit from your meditation during your pregnancy with this daughter will make her virtuous and interested in the Dhamma for instance. Period. When your daughter was 2 years old she had her shoes on and walked noisily in the meditation hall while people were meditating and touched monk's hand during alms offering will not result in any karma directly because she was still little. But slight indirect retribution is when she meditates and the mind is about to unify. There will be distracting noise preventing her from having unified mind. As for her touching the monk's hand without intention and that the monk didn't think of anything will not result in any retribution. You were strongly forbidden to pursue perfection by your aunt because the karma in past life that you prevented other to do good deeds came to fruition. The night that you ran away from your aunt and your daughter said that she saw our Laung Phaw. She did really see Laung Phaw but in the child's way with pure mind. As for you, you should live in an amenable place for the pursuance of perfection. Your present accommodation is proper enough. You should accrue more merit in the meantime because it is not easy to make your aunt have faith in the temple. Therefore every time you make merit, you should resolve that the power of this merit makes her gain faith. You send me your case study to dream and dream for you. I am willingly doing it with compassion for the understanding of the law of Kamma. Therefore there is no retribution. You and your daughter were supporter of Dhammakaya community according to your mood mainly. That allowed the misdeeds in the past life to come to fruition intensively. In this life you should be determined to meditate intensively and regularly according to the advised technique. You will be able to attain the Dhamma. Since we have met each other in this life, thus you must try to pursue perfection in all merits with fullest efforts. Make a wish to follow our community to Tusita, 4th level of heaven, in the special merit zone and never stray away from our community.